One of the best things about heavy sandbag lifting is how basic it is. Find a sandbag weight that suits your current strength level, pick it up off the ground, lift it from your lap to your chest, carry it, try to shoulder it, get stronger, increase the weight, and find yourself a few months down the road a changed person. That simplicity is appealing, and sandbag training doesn't need to get any more complicated than that if you don't want it to. Personally, though, I can't help it. I like experimenting and trying to find new ways to lift these things. I'll never give up hope that there's some kind of special exercise out there still waiting to be found. That enthusiasm for discovery led to what I think is possibly the single best accessory exercise there is for explosive lifters, the sandbag high pull, an exercise that will come up a lot in today's video. The high pull is responsible for a lot of the power I've developed over the last few years, and it's undoubtedly played a big role in me getting to where I am now. Well, I believe I found another exercise that has the potential to be just as meaningful. The sandbag to shoulder is my favorite movement of all time. It has been for a while, but I have to say, lately this new exercise has been giving it a run for its money in terms of raw enjoyment. It's just plain fun, and it makes you feel powerful in a way not many things can. It's like the sandbag to shoulder, only there's less to it. Fewer moving parts, which makes it easy to just put your head down and grind away, giving it your all without needing to think much about the technical side of things. It's a straight up turn on the loud music, turn off your brain, and go full power mode kind of lift. If you've been watching my daily back training shorts, you've probably seen the exercise already. I'm calling it the sandbag throw and catch, though if anyone can think of a better name than that, maybe we can call it something cool. The exercise is exactly what it sounds like. You throw a sandbag up from your lap and catch it at chest height. If you saw my recent video on my favorite sandbag to shoulder lifting technique, you might notice this is essentially a deconstructed version of that. You can think of the full sandbag to shoulder as being made up of three parts: ground to lap, lap to chest, and chest to shoulder. The throw and catch is the lap to chest part. I've been working with the movement for a few months now. Much longer than that if you consider the fact that I do this every time I shoulder a sandbag, but for a few months now as a standalone exercise, and I can confidently say it's worth doing. Focusing on the throw and catch in isolation has made me feel much more powerful and sure of myself when lifting a sandbag from my lap to my chest, which, as I've said many times before, is, in my opinion, the most important part of lifting a sandbag. Every time I focus on this movement and make it my priority for a training day, the next workout back feels like I'm suddenly much stronger than I should be. It makes the sandbag to shoulder feel a lot easier. For you squat everyday fans out there, it's like a way to set yourself up for a feelin' poppy kind of day, as Yvonne would say. This exercise builds powerful hips, powerful total body extension strength, and works the entire back side of the body hard. Given enough volume, it will add a lot of muscle to the glutes, the hamstrings, and every part of the back. Before going any further, I should quickly say, if the idea of catching a sandbag with that underhand arm position worries you, it looks worse than it is. I went into great detail on this in my recent sandbag to shoulder video if you want to know more, but to summarize, you'll be catching the weight with your entire body, not your biceps, which means the risk of injury is much lower than you might expect at first glance. It's still there, of course, as it is with any kind of heavy lifting, but done correctly, it's pretty far down on the list of dangerous exercises. Looking at the movement more closely, what we essentially have is a more ballistic version of a standard sandbag high pull. The intention with a high pull is to throw a sandbag up and over your head, but the sandbag never leaves your hands. With the throw and catch, you have to actually toss the thing into the air. You need to bring it high enough on every single rep or you'll fail the lift. The high pull is great, and I don't in any way see this exercise as a replacement to it, but I'll admit the one downside to the high pull is, with no real end destination for the movement, it falls on you to keep yourself accountable, to make sure you're truly putting everything you have into every rep and bringing the sandbag high up on your chest, not just kind of going through the motions. If you want to build real power, you need to lift powerfully, and the nice thing about the throw and catch is that you just don't have a choice. Either you're 100% all in from start to finish, or you fail. This is a foolproof way to increase your explosive power. Next, before going over the specifics on how to do the exercise, let's talk about intention. Stepping back from individual moving parts, what should your goal with this exercise be? How should you think about it behind the scenes? At the base level, the movement can be thought of as a jump and a throw and a catch. Begin the movement with a jump and a throw. Start by trying to actually jump, as if you were doing a vertical jump and not a heavy sandbag exercise, while at the same time throwing the sandbag up into the air, much like a kettlebell swing, or more accurately, like that strongman event where you essentially do a kettlebell swing into a vertical throw over a bar. Here's a video of Bryce, the unknown strongman, doing it for reference. So combined together, there's the jump and the throw. After that, all that's left to do is catch the sandbag against your chest, absorbing that incoming weight with your entire body. Like the football running back who braces for impact when he realizes there's no way to avoid that incoming linebacker, your intention should always be to let the force of that sandbag travel through you, absorbing the impact with your entire body, not catching it with your arms. I'll talk about the arms more when going over technique, but honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about specifics. Just catch the sandbag like you intuitively would any heavy object using your entire body, and you'll already be 99% of the way there. Now on to the finer details. To perform the movement, place a sandbag in a horizontal position on your lap and drape both arms over top as far as you can with a double overhand grip. That "as far as you can" part is important. Don't settle for anything less than reaching as far as you physically can, to the point where your upper and mid back feels stretched to the max. This will improve your power a lot. Take a deep breath and brace, bring your hips back, storing up energy, then extend with everything you have. Ankles, knees, and hips extend like they would when doing a vertical jump, and the arms, transferring power from the back, throw the sandbag up into the air. As you approach max speed, rotate one side of the bag slightly so it ends up higher than the other, so the sandbag lands in a diagonal position. Reach one arm underneath and catch the sandbag with an over-under grip. It's best to catch it somewhere near the middle, but it won't always be perfect. As you can see here, I'm not as good with my left side and often end up catching the sandbag near the top. I'm working on improving that though. Just do the best you can. Gain control, let the sandbag drop back down to your lap, and repeat for reps. As mentioned before, this is a lot like a high pull, just with an extra step. I can't think of another exercise that comes close to this in terms of brute force. A very heavy swing might do it, maybe an Olympic clean, but there's something about this one that just feels so much more intense. There is a kind of toughness that only comes from lifting heavy, awkward objects like a sandbag, and this throw and catch movement embodies that to its core. There are also far-reaching implications for catching and absorbing a heavy incoming weight like this. The exercise will build muscle, no doubt, but just as important is the resilience, the general physical integrity you gain, tendon connective tissue and bone strength gains, overall improved athletic ability, improved posture, not to mention the unrivaled growth signal catching a weight like this sends out to the muscles. The exercise will change you. Now let's talk about where and when to use the exercise. This is a pure power movement and should go near the beginning of a workout, either first or directly after the full sandbag to shoulder if you're working with that as well. The reason for that being the sandbag to shoulder is more technical and has a larger range of motion. You can program the throw and catch in exactly the same way you would the high pull. I'd stick to sets of 3 reps or less, make sure every rep is done with max power and explosiveness, and move on to something else once you fatigue noticeably and start missing attempts. It's easy to keep pushing past where you should with this exercise. It's just too fun, but try not to get carried away. Once you've worn out your power reserves, there are much more productive things you could be doing with your training time. I've been having a lot of fun doing these for heavy singles, rotating back and forth between sides every set. You can use heavier weight this way and focus everything you have on that one explosive attempt. This is a great way to prepare yourself for shouldering a challenge sandbag. The only downside to this approach is it can be tough to accumulate a lot of overall volume with singles, especially if you're already doing the sandbag to shoulder for single reps beforehand too. So doing at least a few sets of 3 is recommended. Something like 3 to 5 single reps per side, 6 to 10 total, with a heavier weight, then 5 sets of 3 with lighter weight seems to work well. You could also do the throw and catch in place of your first few sets sets of high pulls. If you're running the Sandbag Hypertrophy program, you'll know it calls for 5 to 10 sets of 3 on the high pull. If you wanted, you could do 3 to 5 sets of the throw and catch, followed by 3 to 5 sets of the high pull, just as an example. The two exercises complement each other well, and you can use either one interchangeably depending on what you feel like doing that day. And that's all there is to it. Let me know if you try this throw and catch exercise, and or if you can think of a better name for it. If you're looking for more information on how to use sandbags to get strong like a strongman and yoked like a wrestler, check out my new book over on Amazon, Sandbag Hypertrophy, the complete sandbag training manual. Inside, you'll find 2 complete training programs, each one enough to keep you busy for many months, and 100 plus pages diving deep into every aspect of heavy sandbag lifting. I'll have a link to the book, as well as a link to the video I made going over one of the programs from the book in the description below. Thanks again to all of you who already got the book, and to those of you who left a review over on Amazon. It might not seem like it, but that makes a huge difference. I know a few of you have already made some great progress using the program, and I'm proud of you guys. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.